love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop, just level up, don't stop. I'm so gone, no I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop, just level up, don't stop.
Hello, everybody, and we're back at the lab. This is not your usual voice. I am unfortunately not your friend auto announcer. We've racked him up for just a little bit. We've reined in me. I'm your host, Hi, aka Sauger B, and I'm from California, and I take this track very closely to heart. I'm talking about this Back at the Labs race. We're at round 4 and what I think is a very, very cool championship, baby. This is GT3 and LMP1s. We've got about 18 people filling out this grid and a lot of familiar names. We've got 4 Porsches out here. And this is Sonoma Raceway, folks. Does it get any more beautiful than wine country? And we're not going to take into account my California bias. We're just going to leave it at that. Sonoma Raceway, possibly one of the greatest in the state. Well, of course, right next to Laguna Seca, home to a lot of great racing, Indy, Moto America, etc. But don't rule out Sonoma, where we're home of NASCAR and the Fanatec GT America Challenge. IMSA no longer racing here, but NASA does, and so does NASCAR, as well as many drag strip events. It is beautiful as qualifying is getting underway. We got a couple people jockeying for track position already, so let's take a look at that and see what's going on. We've got Misha already out in the field, taking a clean breakaway. And although I am new to the, let's say, Back at the Labs family, I would like to say that I am familiar with a couple of these people, a lot of these names seeming familiar, whether I've seen them on a tower and raced against you, or perhaps I've just seen your name on a leaderboard out of my reach. A couple names I've noticed, like F1, Peter O'Brien, if that's the same one. I was just commentating another race for him. There's Oleg, a name I'm familiar with. Nick Rojas, if I'm not mistaken, drives for the Fab Racing team, if I'm not mistaken. Could be mistaken on that. And Rupert Landry, if I'm not mistaken. That's a name that seems familiar, probably from the SRS days, sim racing system for those of you not familiar. And then Chewbacca, obviously, and FFX2, one I've seen at the Plebeian Racetrack before. Mind the dots on the track map, folks. This is different than what you've typically seen me run. We've got the red dots being the LMP1s and the green dots being the GT. Colors corresponding, excuse me, to the tower to your left. And qualifying just getting going. I'm excited to see what the lap times are gonna be here. We had some varying times in practice, obviously, but I think the grid is gonna get settled down here soon. I think once people get familiar with the undulations of the track, it's quite easy to get into a rhythm and just continually set out laps. That being said, track position is important out here for qualifying. Interestingly enough, a couple people on the soft tires and a couple people taking to the medium tires. I wonder if that's just a wear thing. They're trying to make sure that they don't have to deal with any problems later down the race. Or excuse me, later in qualifying if they're planning on staying out for the entire quali event. I want to take a couple moments to look at the championship standings right now, if we can do so. Look at the driver standings in GT3s. We have Busey in P1 with 60 points, rating provisional. We have Bearded in P2. So Busey down in 14th right now. Hasn't set a lap yet. Bearded. Haven't seen that name pop up yet. I'm sure it will soon, I hope. Those guys only separated by 3 points. And watch out, that's Oleg with 57 points, only 3 points off the lead, securing himself a championship podium, potentially ahead of Huck Farrell with 52 points. That's a 5-point gap. Kong 916 in 5th, Riot in 6th, excuse me, and Jay Styles in 7th with 38 points. You got less than 10 separating 5 through 8. That could shake things up. Ben B with 26, Misha in 10th and 19th, Yaba in 11th, Swoop in 12th, Nick Rojas in 13th, Dave Martin in 14th. Not here, obviously. Chewbacca with 15 points, Min-Max 16th place right now with 4 points. Rev with 17, Postal in 18th, Brett Vaughn, UJ2K, Rupert Landry in 21, rounding out the people that have gotten points for showing up. And heading over to the LMP1s, perhaps should have started with these. We'll get it sorted sooner or later. Got Peter O'Brien with 50 points, leading the charge ahead of Jeffrey Bray with 43 points. Another name that seems familiar to me. Third place, we have Doc Logic, 39 points. So this might be anyone's game in LMP1. F1 with 35 points, and P-Man 8362 in 5th. Killface in 6th with 18, in 7th for Kuas with 15 points. I think the guys and gals here, not to be pronoun specific, excuse me, are getting their laps finally sorted out ahead of them. Peter O'Brien with a 17.609. I wonder if that can be improved on. Like I said, he's leading the championship right now. And looks to take it away and taste some champagne out of a gold trophy tonight. Oh, as he goes Rupert goes super wide, excuse me, pushing that Audi to the limits. Running into a little bit of traffic with that Ferrari right ahead and bumps into him during qualifying. Sonoma Raceway is a track where you will get caught out if you're not careful with track position. I highlighted that earlier, and that caught out Rupert for sure. On our way to F1 to see what they're going on about right now, and the 46 is finally setting a more indicative lap of their skill down to the 22.039. What I'm most excited to see about Sonoma Raceway is something we don't get to see since IMSA no longer races here. How do the prototypes navigate their way around the traffic as we've got F1 doing just that behind the Lamborghini ahead? That looks like Swoop just ahead. Them on valid laps as we switch over to Misha for just a moment. We set a good lap at 32.2. Look at how tight this field is back here. We've got Andrew up ahead with a 30.2, 31. Ooh, 31.5 from Oleg. Improved on his last, but didn't jump anybody in the leaderboard so far. Looking at everybody else, back to the action I was trying to talk about before Oleg rudely interrupted me with that fast lap. How dare he? I think from about 5th all the way back to 10th is about a second separating the 5 or 6 cars there, which is quite impressive. And then looking a little further back from Rupert Landry down to Rojas and Postal, there's another second there, 2 seconds, excuse me. I think those guys just haven't really set a lap yet. Nick Rojas is probably much faster than that, but just needs to get it under him. Minimax pushing it to the rev limiter. You can hear it screaming there for just a second. Still banging the rev limiter. I wonder if that's how you get the optimal power out of that Audi. AC. He's something they know that we don't. Let's see if we can get on board Ben B and see what a lap looks like, as he's being threatened by someone behind in the 35. That's Jeff Bray. John Bray? I don't want to get that wrong. Jeffrey Bray. That wasn't them. Go back over to Ben. They're going to make their way around 7 and 7B now. 8 and 8. These S's are so fun to go through flat out when you get them hooked up right. I'm curious to see what the LMP1s are going to be able to do when they get hooked up and have all the traction that they can around these GT3s. I know for a fact we're going to see a move gone wrong. Going back to the onboard I promised to Ben B. All right, coming up to the finish line here. And oh no, there's a Ferrari on the inside. That might hinder his performance through turn 1. But looks like they got it hooked up on the way up the hill through turn 2, pushing out wide, almost going to the curb. A little crisscross applesauce, coast to coast, curb to curb, downshifting on their way through third, settling the car down. They make their way down the hill for 4, very awkward late corner here. You go extremely deep. 5 over the hill, awkward on the brakes because you get some hang time there around the carousel of 6. You want to get on the gas as early as you can, but as we saw, that bump there over the hill really upsets the balance of the car. Headed down the straight, we jump off to the over to the drag strip, just a little bit approaching 7. We're here at the end of the drag strip now, coming across 7B. Here's the S's I love and know so much, flat out pushing it, banging up through the gears, a little breath off the throttle there, and a little drift coming back right across the track. That's not going to help Ben B. They're not improving that much right now. Beautiful lines though, and good execution for Ben B. Oh no, as an LMP dives him through the hairpin of 11. and destroys that lap. Any chance of his success are thwarted now, but goes out and keeps on driving despite the damage. Ben on the soft tires is going to try to make that work. Let's see how this pans out for Ben. Not the move I would have taken, to be honest. Thank you, Noble, for joining us here back at the labs. I know you know who I am, and I know I know who you are. We're all just here to have fun and support each other, and thank you very much for joining this broadcast. Gotta look out for these custom liveries. I'm not too accustomed to the field yet, so I've got to get used to seeing these cars in their natural habitat, let's say. Busey rocking this green and black car from what I can see. You gotta look at this, what Busey's got rocking. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. That is a nice green and black car. I can call that from a mile away. Let's go ahead, one car up to this nice red Ferrari. And I gotta agree with Sebastian Vettel when he says, how can you not be a Ferrari fan? Everybody's a Ferrari fan, right? Yeah. Just gotta throw that out there. Ferrari red. If you're driving a Ferrari and you don't throw it out in red, are you really a Ferrari fan? And a beautiful back at the labs branding as well. These guys are on another level. Stay tuned for next week. If you had a good look at the intro screen, stay tuned for the exit one. It looks just as outstanding, and these liveries are only going to improve as we got more and more as that Ferrari gets squiggly. Wowza, on their way through two, a little sideways. I don't think Ferraris are supposed to drift like that, Rev. No, they're not. On their way up the hill through 3 and exited the track on 3A. Oleg, look at this livery. This is gorgeous. Let's make sure we have the time to respect and appreciate this Ukrainian flag liveried car back at the labs. Sponsored by Northern California Racing Club. I had no idea. And it looks like the title sponsor is something that Oleg is absolutely passionate about and his family and friends are passionate about. We're talking about the World Central Kitchen. And if you're not familiar, please, if you're on Twitch or YouTube, switch swap applesauce to make sure you get down to the donation link below. It is there. I know it is. I saw it. These guys at Back of the Labs have raised over $1,000 for a good cause, feeding millions of people out in the Ukraine. This is a cause known close to some of these drivers, so make sure you support them as they support people in need. Taking a look, Swoop going for the new fresh tires, and who's that in front of him? That's Yaba with some fresh rubber as well. People finally switching it up to the softs for the final 5 minutes. The track has rubbered in completely. As I said earlier, I think people finally settling down and trying to find some open track positions where they can just go out, warm up their tires on their hot lap, and not be interrupted the second time around. Yeah, but also in a custom livery, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like a... I don't know what that sponsor is, if you excuse me. Pertamina. That's what I'm going to go with. 91 Blancpain. I don't know how to pronounce that, so excuse me. I can pronounce things like Spa-Francorchamps and Argentina, but French things, well, elude me, I apologize. Belgium, yes. German, yes. French, no. No romance languages for me, I apologize. But let's get back to the action. I apologize, I keep digressing. We got NCRC Andrew. I'm just going to call you Andrew. I apologize. With a 30.2. That's awfully rapid here around Sonoma Raceway. That's one of the best times that I was expecting to see. We're going to be around the 29, so this is about the cream of the crop. Busey throwing it up with a 51. That's indicative of their championship standings right now. Kind of close to where I expected them to see after watching the championship order. Definitely looking to see if Busey can maintain their lead ahead of Oleg. Just 3 points, mind you, and we'll keep an eye on Oleg to see if they'll be jumping anybody as Bray throws up a 16.694. Where have you been hiding? Hanging out in pits apparently with a similarly branded Ukrainian-themed car, also supporting the World Central Kitchen, matching the livery of Oleg outstandingly, but immediately coming out and setting a lap, taking it away from the fast boy that we know and love as Peter O'Brien. And if you've hung around me for long enough, you know that's Potato O'Brien snapped back with a 15.827. What's going on here back at the labs, and can Jeffrey Bray snap back? We've got 3.2 minutes remaining, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Excuse me, that's not how decimals work. We've got 3 minutes remaining. Jeffrey Bray is gonna want to snap back at O'Brien here. We've only got about 2 minutes left, I'm gonna say, or 2 laps, I should say, by the time they get to the line. So this one plus one more if Jeffrey Bray keeps it on track. Holding on to those soft tires. Peter O'Brien's parked it in the pits, so he might just be watching on board with Jeffrey. Let's do the same. Jeffrey absolutely getting set up for the final corner after 11, punches it. Headed to the line, bounces over the bumps in the track, headed uphill towards turn 2, onto the curb, patient on throttle to make sure he doesn't spin up. On his way to turn 3, doesn't want to turn in too early here, over the crest for 3A, down the hill towards turn 4. Super awkward, keeping it super hung out there. That Porsche better not get in the way, and it doesn't. Jeffrey Bray staying on the wharf path over the bump downhill. Super diligent on the brakes, no lockups, no spin-ups that we see. I want to view at him sawing at the wheel, but doesn't look like camera exists. I apologize. As we get to the end of the lap towards 7 and 7A. Super smooth and connected. This is gonna slow Bray down, that's for sure. He's gonna have to check up around this Ferrari. Oh no, he's on a hot lap too. He's gotta give the respect and allow them to set their lap, and he does. Jeffrey Bray tries to carry as much speed as he can, but loses it going over to the dirt at the end of the S's of 9A. Headed into 11, a little lock up here, but is able to get it collected. Maybe he can do one more lap. Is Jeffrey Bray gonna put it down? I don't think he had it in the bag this lap. No. 17-1 there. Let's see what Jeffrey can do now. Oh no, another hiccup from a Beamer in front this time, causing Jeffrey Bray to choke up just a little bit. These prototypes have to be super diligent about their navigation around this traffic and where they want to set a lap. Now I understand why some of these guys just stayed out there as long as they could. They didn't know when this gap was going to show up on them or not. Over the hill and down around the carousel of 6. My favorite corner on the track. Oh, as Jeffrey Bray has to abandon the lap. No! Doesn't want to ruin anybody else's chances. Let's take a look at these GT3s and see what's going on. We got Andrew with the 30.2. We talked about that still. Busey, our championship leader in GT3s right now, is holding on to 6th. We got people coming and going from the server. I'm gonna hold off on the on the order for qualifying right now for just a few moments until we confirm that everything's settled down. What I can confirm though are the LMP cars. Looks like we've got O'Brien with that 15.8, nearly a second ahead of Bray. I mean, not surprising. We've seen O'Brien before, at least some of us have. We know he's awfully rapid here. Didn't think he's going to pull out that 1 second gap, but he sure did. Lap traffic may have had something to do with it. Bray's probably got something up his sleeve for the race, I would imagine. We've got D-Logic in third place right now, the number 33 with 18.3 for their lap time. We got the P-Man at 83.62. I'm just going to call you P-Man. I'm sorry, brother. With a 20.18. They're going to be fighting toe-to-toe with the F1. Not driving the F1, but in an LMP1. But I'm doing a 120.99. Those guys will be awfully close. And we've seen F1 in some other series as a pleb. We're going to see some good things from them. Looking at the GT3s now, I hope everybody who needed to either grab a livery or take a break or leave the server and come back has rightfully done so. Because we got some things to talk about. I'm going to look at Andrew right now. He's got a 30.22 ahead of him. Late on the charge into turn 1. I'm curious to see how this race will get underway. This is not only my first broadcast with Back at the Labs, but this is my first time watching how they conduct their race start procedures, etc., etc. So please bear with me, folks, as I am learning with you. But we've got Andrew in P1, leading the way into P1. Excited to see how this is going to work out with the mixed class racing. We'll do our best to keep them separated. Busey in second place for the GT, seventh place overall. Ben B. I had a friend named Ben B. Back in high school, actually. A little anecdotal story I'll share later. With a 31.489, and I feel like there's going to be these two front runners now that are going to be jostling for position amongst themselves, but I won't be surprised if the cars, the faster LMP1s, cause a little chaos and force these guys to not... Let me just put it this way. In my experience with these mixed class races, pace kind of goes out the window, right? It's all about how you get navigated through lap traffic and how you navigate the lap traffic. So I think that'll be the most important thing going forward. That being said, Ben B, the gatekeeper of the 31 runners, 31.4 for them, and Oleg right behind with a 31.5, Swoop with a 32.0, Misha with a 32.2 as the server just gets to switching over now. Misha Shubaka with the 32.3. Like I said, so close and so tight. Look at all these 32s here. We've got Swoop in 9th all the way back to 16th place. These 9 drivers nearly are separated by a darn second or less than. All the way back, got Chewbacca, J Styles, Icon, Rupert Landry, The Rev, that's your nickname and I'm sticking to it, Min Max to the Max, Yabba Gold, and Rojas with FFX2 and Postal, T Kerbal Kin rounding out. We've got 22 people here at the lab tonight. More than I expected, to be honest with you guys, but we've got over 32 GT3s on our championship page, a couple of them not getting points, and we've got 7 people in the LMP. So this is going to be an exciting race. I think people are kind of just leaving the server and coming back as the delay in qualifying, getting the race going is due to me being in my car. I can go ahead and reset it for everybody. That should trigger the start of the end of the qualifying session and back towards the race series. The grid is getting going for everybody. 40 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock now, folks. Let's not forget that. We've got Andrew right next to Busey. This is interesting. Busey's going to have the inside line for turn 1, but the outside of turn 2, this will be spicy because of the odd number of LMP1s. I'm curious how this is going to be navigated. Don't mind the excitement in my voice as things get underway. As I said before, I'm a California boy. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be jumping, screaming, and shouting from the top of my lungs, and the lights are set now here at Sonoma Raceway for the finale, or the back at the labs GT3 LMP1 series. People are revving their engines, the lights go green, away we go. We've got F1 lighting up the rear end a little bit. People are jockeying for position. That's P-Man trying to make a breakaway into turn 1, but not able to do so. Now doing his best to hold on to defense of P3. Bray's off into the races, makes contact with O'Brien early onto P3 into turn 3, has to get the car spun around, and is now starting from behind the GT3s, unfortunately. Not the way we wanted to see that battle go, but to be expected if you're going to try to go side by side at Sonoma on lap 1. Busey holding on to P2 right now, tucking in behind Andrew. Didn't notice the logo on the door. We'll get a look at that later. Holding on to and staying very close to Andrew ahead, a half a second only there. Let's see what's going on. Rojas Bray's trying to make his way through the field. We're getting a lot of action with the LMP1s versus GT3s sooner than we expected around the outside of turn 7 and 7A. Getting around ABBA securely, but that red Ferrari we love so much from Red causing some conflict for Jeffrey Bray. We talked about the patience through the S's. You've got to express some as that Ferrari goes off into the grass. That's Rev, my pal, headed towards the runoff, unfortunately. Huge breakaway from the Potato Man O'Brien. 4-second lead right now as Bray continues to make his way through the field, trying to go for some attention on camera, I think. And I think that's Icon getting a drive-through right now, serving that after lap 1, not delaying that penalty. UC headed on their way to turn 2, closing the gap down on Ben B, down to half a second now. Bray's making his way through the field continuously, almost on the back of Busey right now. Made his way around, swoop carefully on the way downhill to 4. This is going to be exciting. I'm going to want to get on board with Bray to see how he navigates this carousel on the inside of Busey. Holy Toledo, gets it collected over the hill, catches a little bit of air, patiently waits through the carousel for that Mercedes to pick their, or that Beamer to pick their line. Around before 7 and 7A. Teammate on teammate, it looks like. Jeffrey Bray is now behind Oleg. Let's see how Oleg wants to deal with this. If he's going to be patient, calm, cool, and collected, or let him by. Completely let him by through the S's. Didn't want any kerfunkles there. Bray is almost back to the LMP cars. Going to have a lot more work to do now. We're on board with Potato Man Peter O'Brien. Taken away, 6 seconds ahead now. F1 having a moment at the top of turn 2, it looks like. Having a bit of a moment at turn 3, excuse me. That's 3A, headed downhill towards 4 now. Trying to recover from that mistake. There will be opportunities here, especially as we saw Jeffrey Bray having a big moment early on, throwing an opportunity to anybody now. Busey is being extremely patient with this battle with Ben B, assumingly not wanting to challenge anything in the first 10 minutes unless there's a big opportunity available. Going for the, what do they say, high opportunity or high success move. Goodness gracious, my brain is melting. I've been up this late in a long time. As Rupert Landry is only 2/10 back from Yaba Gold. Makes a look at the inside of the entrance to the carousel. Woo, gets a little light with that rear end. I saw that wheel get light and squiggly for just a second as D-Logic and P-Man are going at it on their way through turn 1 on the outside. That's P-Man snapping right back. We saw him go for a move right there at the early start of the race on the breakaway and made it move around Doc Logic. Wasn't going to wait around behind to snap back at another opportunity. This is beautiful racing. I am so excited. We have Peter O'Brien is about to catch lap traffic. This is going to be the favorite part of my race now. But more importantly, let's stay on board with this and take a look at the gaps to see if anybody else is fighting right now. I'm not seeing it, but a huge lockup. Not from the dock, but that's from P-Man ahead. Doc checked up a little bit to make sure that there was no contact there. Right on, right on. This is going to be close. I wonder what the I wonder what the slipstream is doing to the downforce on these cars, actually, especially around Sonoma Raceway, where these guys might not be banging it out all the way into the highest gear top speed. So going for a high downforce car might be the way you want to set this thing up, right? So if you're stuck behind another car and you're losing a little bit of that downforce, caught in the aero wash, it might hurt you quite a bit. A lot of brake lockup, excuse me, a lot of breakups. What is this, high school romance? Not quite. 16th place. We're on board looking at Misha right now, staring at the derriere of Rojas in the blue Ferrari with the gold wheels. They must be teammates with the other Ferrari ahead. Similarly matched wheels, if I'm not mistaken. Misha on the inside, looking to make a move. Nope, just a cheeky little peek, trying to force an error out of Rojas if available. But what's up with this side-by-side ahead? That's a Lambo and a Beamer trying to go at it. Lambo stays ahead at the exit of 7A. Narrowly escaping that conflict as there's more kerfunkling going on. 3/10 back, Rupert Landry wants a piece of the pie. Got a little squirrely on the curb, we saw, and that just unbalanced them a little bit. Navigating lap traffic is the Doc, getting separated by the P-Man more than he'd like due to that Lambo getting in between them. That's just how endurance racing works, as there's more kerfunkling snapping back to Rupert Landry, losing out of position to FFX2 now. The hairpin of 11 and 11A, something went down hot on the tail through one. That Porsche might get turned in and rotated a little bit better as Rupert has the inside line. Around goes an LMP car, and that was FFX2 getting caught looking at his rear view mirror and slowing down on the grass quite a bit. Loses out all that work that he had put down just a moment ago. Peter O'Brien making his way through traffic again now. Let's snap back over to the Bray as he makes his way through traffic for the second time now, seeing his Ferrari, if I'm not mistaken. Around the outside of Rev. Yep, that's right. We saw him at the S's before. PB from Rojas at 34,344. A lot of PBs coming in. I'll have to disable certain notifications next time we do this. Someone's got a hotkey for that. That'd be great. Peter O'Brien navigating this Beamer traffic ahead, coming through the S's, did that beautifully and well. Still mounting that gap, 15 seconds ahead on the inside of both of these GT3s. 11 now. Taking a look at the Doc, the gap has come back down. That slinking has come and gone. That's been beautiful to see. Down to 7/10, a little bit further than where we were before, as Busey and Ben B are awfully close on the Delta. Almost missed that action around the corner of 4. Looking at 5 now in the entrance of the carousel, 6. I wonder if someone's going to be brave enough to try to make a move around the carousel or through the carousel here at Sonoma Raceway. Off camber corner, downhill, blind braking point. It is not the easiest place to make a tricky move like that work, but don't be surprised if some of these drivers are familiar with each other and they're confident in making that work. Yeah, but Gold 2/10 back, headed towards 7. Going super deep, the both of them, trying to turn that hairpin into one flowy quarter in the Beamer of Chewbacca. Going a little wider than the two of them and losing out touch, if I'm honest with you guys. 7/10 back now. Over the curve they go. Wow, Chewbacca really able to close down that gap. I take back every negative thing I said about their exit there of 7A, but really got a run and came down to 4/10, threading at the hairpin on that Lambo, diving out of the way, not returning the racing line they wanted. Yeah, but touches the wall. A little look in the mirrors, I would imagine, as LMPs make their way through, jostling around. Chewbacca tried to dive out of the way and stuck to the racing line as they should. LMPs make their way past. breaking the action, I hope. Just a moment for me to drink a little bit of coffee and catch my breath here and catch focus of what's going on. I want to take a look at the progressive gains and losses, but Misha keeps bringing me some excitement to look at. 1/10 back on Landry, almost giving me what I asked for through the carousel. But not quite getting it done. Misha must have the stream open. Ears are burning. Heard me request a move through the carousel, trying to put on a show for me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I see what you're doing. Keep it up. Let's take a look at Chewbacca. Awfully close to the Lambo ahead. We saw this get a little too close for comfort through the hairpin last time around, but I think it's all good now. Going back 3 positions, Misha side by side with that Audi again, but around the outside's not going to work through turn 1. That's a lot of ground to make up. He doesn't have the speed to make it work. Tucks in behind for 1. Heads up the hill. It's carrying a lot of speed on the optical line through 2. Goes a little bit wide to shave off the speed. Nose to tail right now. That's bumper to bumper for sure. We wouldn't want it any other way here back at the labs. Oh, on the inside. Not a lunge, but out braking for sure. Has the inside of turn 4. Almost looked like that Audi didn't want to put up a fight there. Rupert Landry being extremely cautious and letting Misha right on by. Doc still on the hunt of the P-Man ahead, making their way through lap traffic, or not nearly. Holding on to the inside. There's a Beamer on the outside. Trying to make their braking markers still work for them as the Doc still hunts down P-Man ahead. Yabba Gold, where my heart's at tonight, in 12th place in the 91 Huracan GT3. Oh, what's going on between Ben B and Busey? I apologize. A little jockeying for position again. Busey now in 8th place, 3rd overall. Ben B in 9th. 4th place overall. These guys came a lot closer somehow than we thought. And oh no, Rev drops out from the race. Man, oh man, that was my homie. I was rooting for them. Oh, goodness gracious. Not what we like to see. I apologize, Rev. I hope you have a better race next time out. The next season is starting up on the following Wednesday, so stay tuned, folks. That will get going. This is the closest action we have on track right now. Other than the LMPs making their way through traffic, we're about to get actually F1 to make their way through these 2 fighting bulls. So let's take a look at F1's inputs and see what they're going to do as the Beamer goes wide. Off-track rejoins right in front of F1. Safely, I must add. That move is secured, but Busey lost out again, it looks like. Ben B lost out there. Ben B losing out, as Busey passes them up from that moment over onto the grass. Right before getting passed by the LMP car. Ben B losing a little bit of focus, it seems. Maybe getting a little bit of taste of the commentator's curse and onto the grass and curbing again. Maybe just needs to collect their thoughts and take a deep breath to relax because the points are here. The pace is there. Keep the car underneath them for now. Yabba Gold, half a second back from Jay Styles. Just to give you guys a heads up of what's going on, excuse me as I interrupt myself, the Doc is only 2/10 back super deep into 11, but has it secured. Oh no, little bump to the P-Man. Hopefully not clipping the tires there, as that's Jeffrey Bray getting around those two guys as the position is returned from the dock to P-Man. That would have been a naturally recurring overtake, honestly, had the real estate not been occupied. And now P-Man's trying to fight, honestly gonna say, someone he doesn't need to fight right now, as Jeffrey Bray had a great run up the hill. P-Man just trying to hold on to what they could. Gotta be frustrated about losing out the extra position, and I don't dog them for that, but the dock tried to do the best they could and return the position. Hopefully not too much damage between the two of you guys, and no love lost, because that was some great racing, and I want to see that continue. Please and thank you. Bray making his way through traffic now on the inside. Holy Toledo, that was awfully close. You saw the Kerbal King just getting past there. Give you an idea of what these guys' lap times are and what they're doing. Oh no, more craziness with lap traffic, as the P-Man is now getting held up through the S's and back in front of the Doc Logic. Nose to tail again into 11. The Doc holds on to it this time, 2 by 2. Every GT grab a prototype as we go around turn 11 rodeo style. No, square dancing style. That's what I meant to say. Scratch that. Start over. Yaba Gold 2/10 back from the fighting buddy of Jay Styles ahead. This has been patiently brewed overtake for a while now, and Chewbacca's got to be getting a little impatient because they've waited behind Yaba Gold for quite some time. This move isn't going to get done. I'm sure Chewbacca's going to have something to say about it shortly. Oh, and Yaba Gold dives into the pits, not wanting to put up with this battle anymore. Maybe taking their service of the night. Let's see where that puts them out on track. This will be interesting. Maybe towards P18 and 19, potentially, into some clear air until everybody else takes their service. A little bit of contact. Icon and F1, a little side by side there. Whoop! As we've got someone off into the grass. I think that was not Yaba. I don't know who that was. Kerbal Kin. A bit of a moment there. And these prototype battles rage on, as I like to call them, my prototype piranhas. Look at these guys' lap times. 23.9, 23.8. The Doc is catching. He wants that position. A little taste of champagne goes a long way for morale. I wish I could get a taste every once in a while. Maybe the Doc will be so kind as to invite me. But what's happened to the Bray? Oh no. The Bray having a moment on the entrance of turn 5. Off into the grass and will definitely lose out of position to, excuse me, the Doc and P-Man, but I thought it was going to be definite to F1, but F1's being super cautious and it gets boxed in by a GT3 who tries to dive out of the way, tucks in behind the LMP, occupies the real estate that F1 needs to be in, and there's contact through 7. My goodness, that's not the way you needed that to end. No siree, Bob. That's Postal having a little bit of a mistake and rejoining carefully in front of Icon, who's going around 7A. Doc Logic and the P-Man. P-Man pulling out a 2/10 gap, it looks like. That lap itself faster that time around by a couple tenths. Logic still within slipstream range though. Ooh, little lockup into the carousel. I'm still waiting for that overtake to happen. One of these LMPs is going to get a little bit excited about making that move stick. And we saw this happen before with another LMP. It doesn't happen again. No. Thank goodness, both of them going super wide. Doc Logic, super heads up driving, saw that Audi missing his brake marker from a mile away. Everybody's learning here at Back at the Labs. Mistakes are going to happen. Great, I just got to say, great heads up driving by Doc Logic to make sure that they didn't get involved in that. That is good stuff to see as Minimax goes into the pits. I got excited because I thought that was a jostle for position, but no. As Oleg leaves the pits now, taking their service and heading out on track. Let's see if we can see who's taking pits and who hasn't. Andrew up ahead in P6 has not. 7 of Ben B has not as well. Actually, I think they have. This might not be the most accurate of towers. I apologize. Might have to go rely on the Delta screen. Chewbacca right behind the battle of Jay Styles. We saw that he was being super patient with, who was that? That was my boy, Gold. Yeah, but Gold earlier on being super patient with them. And Chewbacca continuing that trend of patience on the inside of Jay Styles is able to combat it at the exit of 7A and has the move secured through the chicane. That's how you get a patient move completed without any contact. Chewbacca putting on a clinic on how to gain championship points without really trying. UC getting engulfed by these prototypes now. In the hunt between Oleg, though, still our championship leader. Oh my goodness. Those guys in matching liveries, they must be on the comms with each other, because that's not a place where I'd like to go make a move. And a little bit of dirt was contacted with the rubber, causing some, I'm gonna say it, code brown moments for myself in the booth even. So change of underwear for Busey and change of underwear for, I think that was the Bray Man for sure. Thank you everybody for coming into the race chat and talking so highly about the commentary and joining us here at Back in the Labs. I hope this trend continues in the future. Time will tell and my production will be tested going forward as more people head over into the pits. I apologize for not paying attention completely to chat. There's just so much gosh darn action here. I don't want to miss a second of it. It's not that I don't love you guys. I do. I'm just trying to give these guys on track the attention and commentary that they deserve, as Jay Styles still wants to snap back at Chewbacca. Maybe he has learned a thing or two about the time that they were gaining on him somewhere on track. Maybe a different brake marker, or maybe being able to push a little bit like through 4. That was a big speed difference, and it's going to carry that speed over the little hill and down the carousel. That is interesting. I am curious to think what kind of different setups you could come up with to make the cars behave so differently through these downhill undulations where you're really pushing the front tires as hard as you can. Comment may have gotten deleted just because Nightbot might be in here doing their thing. It might have been a 3 emoji thing or a spam thing, possibly. We will get the guys at Back at the Labs on that spam filter to see if there's something we can get changed as Brayman hops into the pits, taking their service. Oh, excuse me, heads out of the pits now. After their service, that must be on board. Not quite sure what we missed out on. I took a glimpse of chat for just a second. I wonder if Bray was able to take damage repairs during that normal stop service. Collect some pace back up. Peter O'Brien, I'm not going to forget about you, dog. In first place, a 25-second lead ahead of F1 right now. That is impressive. Looking at the pits, I see F1 has not taken their mandatory pit yet, so that will need to get serviced sooner rather than later. As Chewbacca looks to have had a moment somewhere on track by themselves, incurring a little bit of damage, maybe by getting hit by an LMP. 13th and 14th place looking a little closer than the Swoop FFX2 battle. Excuse me, as Swoop has a moment. The Grasser Racing team not doing great here. Getting a little grasser, but you don't have to laugh at those. It's okay. I don't deserve that. It's okay. Busey is still close to Oleg as Oleg has steadily progressed their way up through the field as Rojas takes their pit now. Oleg, like I said, steadily progressing through the field from what I can tell, has taken their mandatory pit, so it looks like everything that they've gained is secured for now. Andrew will have to pit out from the lead, though, promoting Oleg into potentially P1, if I'm not mistaken, if everything is correct. Oh no, as P-Man has a moment at the carousel. Oh no. That's the Doc Logic getting by, and Bray also, before they rejoin the racetrack at the end of 6. A little bit of smoke and dust coming up out of P-Man as they step on the throttle, showing a little bit of frustration with that mistake they just had. Unfortunately, we are going to break away from the LMP battle right now. We've got these LMP drivers separated by quite a bit of time. Only some major mistakes or errors that we can clearly see will separate them. So we're going to switch ahead to the GT3 leaderboard now. Take a look at these gaps and see where everybody is. P1, we got Andrew leading the charge, 17 laps, 9 seconds back. Oleg on the optimal strategy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, P-Man having another little moment on the entrance to 4. Might have showed us, oh, and that looks exactly like the mistake they must have made last lap around. Just a little bit sooner than later. Sorry, let's head back over to the GT3 field. Andrew ahead, needing to pit, I assume. Oleg in P2, Busey in 3rd, Ben B, my boy from high school, in 4th. Min Max to the Max, I believe was the nickname I came up with, in 5th, the number 14 Audi. Chewbacca in 6th place, 19. Jay Styles, the patient man defending champion. I think I'm going to call him my Alonso because he defended not only against Yabba Gold, but defended against Chewbacca for as long as they possibly could as Postal disconnects from the server. We got another DNF, folks. And speaking of my boy Jay Styles, Yabba Gold throwing it up in 8th place, putting on a show for us too. And then we've got Rojas in the 501 commentator's curse. I'll take responsibility for this one. That Ferrari incurring quite a bit of damage in trying to rejoin the racetrack. Loses out of position to Misha, so invert my last statement. Misha in 9th, Rojas in 10 now, Ikong in 11th, the 097. Putting on, from what I could see, a clean drive, maybe having a few moments to themselves as they get the car beneath them. Rupert Landry, though, we saw a lot of action from him early on in the race. Expected him to be further up the field, but doing the best they can to recover after some early contact. FFX2 rounding out 13th place with Swoop in 14th place. Ooh, Rupert Landry throwing out a PB though. 32380 is the server notification I just got. I swear to God I'll take care of that next time. Hop on board to some of the LMP1s and see Peter O'Brien navigate his way through the field, chopping it up as some of those NASCAR and oval track people like to say, right? That's what we call it when you make your way through the field, right? Just chopping it up. And that's what we're going to call it when these LMP wins go through their way. And Busey, as we say, oh no! Peter O'Brien having a huge moment on the inside of Busey. We thought that was signed, sealed, and delivered, but apparently not. And more action behind as Swoop and F1 have a moment, almost a replica of what we saw Peter O'Brien have just a second ago. Really strange to see that go down. Not like Peter. Well, maybe it is. He does have to push pretty hard in some other series, but maybe not so much here. But the mixed class racing, it's what throws everybody for a loop. I gotta reiterate that point the most, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. Correct. Oh no, more madness ahead. Gosh darn it, is that Icon having a moment too? Oh no. Gosh darn it, the commentator's curse is bequeathed to everybody I love and care. As I was saying, I apologize as I digressed, as I saw another one of my friends off into a barrier, unfortunately. I think the point I was trying to make with these cars is that endurance races, and these multi-class events, is it doesn't matter how fast you are around a single lap, really. How you navigate the traffic is unique to every single opportunity and a passing point. It's a dance, and to do it right or to get it wrong, it's not only seconds, but it can be minutes a lap, right? Oh, as he gets, P-Man has to check up a little bit and made sure that he let the other LMP by, but P-Man has another moment into 5, that downhill section as we talked about the carousel, throwing the balance off the car so much, and then getting on the brakes for a line that you've never been on. It's going to cause a lockup, and it's going to cause confusion and frustration. Holy Toledo, unfortunate for the P-Man. We saw this not go their way from the start of this race, chasing down the dock, being chased down by the dock a lot of this battle. Man, this has been entertaining to say the least. As I was saying, I keep interrupting myself over and over again. I'm sorry. All about how you navigate the traffic as Jay Styles staring at the booty of Chewbacca on the optimal line. I don't know where Shoe's going, is leaving the door wide open for Jay Styles, and it is open for Jay Styles. Who's coming home for dinner? It's Jay, baby. Chewbacca's cooking up a Thanksgiving meal for all of us, and we're invited. That door was wide open. I don't know how many different ways I could say that. That was unbecoming of the Shoe. Must have had a big moment there on the inside, and that's going to be a position lost. Let's see if Shoe's going to do the same patient overtake that they set up for the first 3 quarters of this race again on Jay, or if they're going to snap back right away when they get close. UJ2K, I'm thinking the same thing, brother. I don't know what these guys are thinking holding on these optimal tires. No, that's Bray off again. Into turn 2, Jay Bray loses it up the hill, but hasn't lost any positions. Thank goodness. What a recovery drive from him. I'd hate to see him throw it away in the final 10 minutes of this race. Shoe getting separated from the combative. He is looking at Jay Styles, the LMP, squeezing his way through turn 4, opening that gap up to 1.5 seconds. Jeffrey Bray slowing down Jay Styles through the carousel, though. I'm going to check up, and that's what I mean by the lap traffic and how you navigate it, right? It gives and it takes at certain points in times. We saw that gap come and go, and it's going to keep on slinking for the final 5 minutes. Stay tuned, folks. This is going to be exciting still. And again, thank you everybody for joining me here at the Back of the Labs, Twitter and YouTube. Thank you for joining us in chat. Thank you for joining us out on the track. I apologize if I haven't gotten to your comments or to what. Oh, P-Man. Got to keep an eye on my boy P-Man right now. I'm curious to see what they're going to do next. You never know. Thank you very much for joining us here on the broadcast. I hope you guys are being as entertained as I am. I do this stuff because I love it, and I love to be entertained by people I care about, and you guys are doing it for me. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to strut my stuff. And like I said, if I haven't gotten to you yet on the comment, it's just because I'm a little distracted by all the action that's going down. And as you can tell, we haven't had a moment's rest since the race has gotten underway. Doc making his way through 7 and 7A now. Past the battle of Jay and Shu, that gap has opened up a bit. I think you called it. UJ2K. Those softs have just absolutely disappeared from Chewbacca at this point in time. I don't think they have that car underneath them anymore. Hard tires of Jay Styles, that strategy just seems to be working out quite a bit better. Let's see if we can get a look at what Chewbacca's going through, trying to seesaw at that wheel. Those soft tires underneath them. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of some of the understeer that they might be facing. Oh, Shu has to slow down so much. They know. I could tell that Shu's... Oh, yeah. Shu's got these tires absolutely roasted beneath him. You can hear him let off the throttle so early in these corners and be patient to not get on him because they've obviously been pushing further and further into this race. Man, oh man. I hope that gap can come down, but it's not looking like it in the final stage of this. Is what happened to Yabba Gold into the pit for the last time. Okay, Yabba. Don't scare me like that. Taking the last minute service before the clock strikes midnight. It's like everybody's last opportunity to do so. As let's look at the progression real quick as we have a few moments to catch up on the progress everybody's made. Surprise, surprise. Oh no, what's going on with the P-Man? Through 7A has a moment with someone in 13th place. That's Misha. Oh no, Jeffrey Bray now having a moment at 5. I think that's all because of Misha still. Obviously got collected by Bray ahead and then had problems rejoining the track, unfortunately. I think I have a moment to go over the standings. Okay, surprise, surprise, I'm shocked to see this too. Despite all the kerfunkles that we saw in the LMP category, it looks like no net gain for anybody or losses in the LMP category. Peter O'Brien in P1, Jay Bray, I like the way that rolls off the tongue. I'm going to stick with that from now on. I'm sorry, brother. Jay Bray and the Doc Logic in 3rd with P-Man in 4th place. That's easy because that actually is what I would have called you anyways, P-Man, so that worked. And F1 in 5th place. No net gains or losses for anybody in the prototype category. Looking down, we've got Andrew, Oleg, and Busey in GT3s. That's 1, 2, 3 for you. I'll switch it over to so we don't have to start counting with our fingers and toes. What's going on in the background? I want to take a look at this as Rojas and Landry are going side to side, I think. I think this is for position. If I'm not mistaken, no, it can't be. It's Rojas on Andrew trying to unlap himself, it looks like. That's 14 on the number 6th place car, excuse me. All right, so back to what I was talking about earlier. Busey, Ben B, Minimax, that's 3, 4, 5. Jay Styles in 6th with our man with the roasted tires under beneath them. Man, you know, it's like that song, Under the Boardwalk. You know, he's got those hot shoes burned up on that roof, baby. Chewbacca, no, and no. Nick Rojas goes wide into the grass at the exit of 10. Oh, no, and onto 11. Hits the tire barrier on the exit. Must just be done with this race. Let's take a look to see where O'Brien is and see if he's going to finish off taking the checkered flag. He will. My understanding of, oh no, it's 40 minutes plus 1 lap, so 1 more lap to go, folks. I apologize. Keep going down the order real quick. Busey, Ben B, Minimax, Jay Styles, Chewbacca, Misha, Rojas, Landry, Yaba Gold, Icon, FFX2, and Swoop. Oleg getting chased down by an LMP for the final time. Oh, someone has given up. That's the Audi of Landry, it looks like. Oh no, spun out, turn 4, bottom of the hill on the entry to 5. Last lap. For Landry down to 16th place. Like I said, not indicative of his pace, progress, and skills, if I'm being honest with everybody. I've seen Rupert Landry do quite well in other series if he's got the name I'm thinking he does. So I hope to see him do well and better off next season, and the luck goes his way as long as I don't stick the commentator's first camera on him, it seems. Yeah, Minimax making up 7 spots overall. Quite a run. Definitely progressing his way up through field. Beautiful to see a lot of these guys not quite finishing where they started. Like I said, I think it really came down to how to navigate the traffic. Really panned out for the better and worse for some people. As Peter O'Brien did take the checkered flag, that plus 1 lap being completed. Congratulations to Peter. That should clinch the championship for him. We'll confirm that right after this. We'll make sure we get everybody the track time they deserve, as Jay Bray, my boy, in the 35. Coming around 7A for the final time and through the S's. Got a couple of the GT3s taking the checkered flag as they've been lapped already. Busey and Ben B taking the checkered, following O'Brien. P-Man taking it. The last of the LMPs, it looks like, to get lapped with F1 just ahead. Jay Bray having a moment of the final corner. Not indicative of them either. Doc Logic should be taking the checkered surely and shortly. As they go now through the other LMP that has finished off their lap already. That looks like F1 diving out of the way. And Andrew right behind. I want to say that that's Misha ahead. No, know who that is. I apologize for not knowing that car. That might have been Misha ahead. That was Misha ahead of Andrew. So Andrew and Misha crossing the line at the same time, not battling for position, obviously. Andrew finishing off the race in P1 for the GT3s now that all the LMP drama has been settled. Oleg taking P2 right now. Busey in third. I still think that secures the championship. We will verify that when we go to the ending screen. Busey in 3, Ben B in 4, Min-Max with the 8 or 7 position gain. Unbelievable drive. Gotta just keep your nose clean. A battle for attrition, it looked like. Who else is still here? Chewbacca in 7th place, Misha in 8th, Yaba in 9th, Nick Rojas in 10, Rupert Landry in 11th, Icon in 12th, FFX2 in 13th, and Soup in 14th. And a couple of DNFs to round out the championship. It comes par for the course, folks. You're going to have some people coming and going as accidents happen. Want to take a look at the championship quickly, see if anything's been updated yet. Busey had 60 points. Nothing's updated yet. Got to wait for the server to come down. We're gonna take a look at the at the Discord and see if I have any permissions to drag people around and abuse them. I sure do, so I'm gonna abuse my powers right now. Let's see if I can grab someone I like a lot. I talked about the P-Man a lot. I'm gonna want to talk to him. I'm gonna grab him and drag him into the booth. Oh, I can't drag people into the booth apparently. Okay. Well, that being said, let's go to the end. We can wait for the championship to come to a close. That's not the right page.